Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I hope you all are fine and staying safe and happy. I am your science teacher, Miss Farheen, and I welcome you all to your science class. My dear students, as you know that we are on chapter number 6 and the name of our chapter is Light and Sound. Today I am going to review this chapter क्योंकि हमने तमाम SLOs cover कर लिए हैं. So one by one हम तमाम SLOs को और तमाम reading pages को एक दफा revise करेंगे and by the end of this lecture I will provide you with an assessment sheet. So my dear students, let's begin the lecture. So let's start it with the recap. So what are harmful effects of noise on health? Quickly pause the video and answer the question. Very good. Okay, what should we do to reduce noise pollution? आप किस तरीके से noise pollution को reduce कर सकते हैं? Quickly tell me. Very good. Okay, my dear students. So let's start the review of the chapter. So this is the first reading page that we have read, जिसमें हमने source of light के बारे में पढ़ा था. So what are artificial and natural sources of light? So जो natural sources हैं जो कि nature में exist करते हैं, जैसे कि sun है, moon है, these stars हैं, these are the natural sources of light. Whereas the artificial sources of light are जो कि human made होते हैं, जैसे कि bulb है, candle है, lantern है, flashlight है, these are all artificial sources of light. So then we discussed about what are luminous and non-luminous objects. So हमने luminous objects के बारे में पढ़ा था which have their own light like sun, bulb, torch, they have their own light. Whereas non-luminous objects are those which reflect the light of luminous objects. Like the example is moon. यानी कि moon जो है it is a non-luminous object क्योंकि उसकी अपनी light नहीं होती. It reflects the light of the sun. So that is why we say that it is non-luminous. Okay, my dear students, then we discussed that what is the difference between transparent, translucent and opaque objects. So हमने different तरह के objects जो हैं उनको categorize किया, जिनमें से light pass कर सकती है, जिनमें से थोड़ी सी light pass कर सकती है और जिनमें से बिल्कुल भी light pass नहीं कर सकती. So ऐसे objects जो हैं इनमें से आप देख सकते हैं, कुछ में से थोड़ा सा आप blur देख सकते हैं और कुछ में से बिल्कुल भी नहीं देख सकते. So इसी category को हम transparent, translucent और opaque कहते हैं. So my dear students, then we discussed that how does light travel? Light travels in a straight line. हमने इसको demonstrate किया through an experiment कि light जो है ये हमेशा किसी source से जब generate होती है तो ये straight line में travel करती है. Then we discussed about how are shadows formed. Shadows तब form होते हैं जब कोई opaque object source of light को के आगे आकर उसको block कर लेता है. तो shadow जो है वो form होता है. It is basically a dark area behind the object. Then we discussed that what are the factors that affect the size of the shadow. Shadow का size जो है वो किस तरीके से affect होता है? It depends on two things. One is the source of light, its distance, and the second is the position of the source of light. यानी कि source of light का distance क्या है और उसकी position क्या है? Whether it is upward, downward, left है, right है. तो this is the position of the object. Whether करीब है या दूर है, this is the position of distance of the source of light. तो इस बेसिस पे shape and size of the shadow जो है वो डिपेंड करता है. Okay, then we discussed about how light reflects from shiny and dull surfaces. So हमने पढ़ा था दो तरह की हमने reflection पढ़ी थी कि जो smooth surfaces हैं वो light को same angle से reflect करती हैं in opposite direction. Whereas जो dull surfaces होती हैं उनमें diffused reflection यानी कि scattered reflection होती है. So scattered या diffused reflection की वजह से ही आप अपने इर्द गिर्द चीजों को देख सकते हैं. Then we discuss about how does sound produce. Sound is produced in the due to vibrations. And how does it propagates? It propagates in the form of waves की form में ये travel करता है. Then we discussed that sound जो है मुख्तलिफ mediums में किस तरह travel करता है. Sound जो है वो solid medium में faster travel करता है, liquid medium में slow travel करता है और air medium में slowest travel करता है. So this is we discussed कि किस तरह different mediums में sound जो है वो travel करता है. Then we discussed what are the factors that affect the intensity of sound. Intensity of sound जो है whether it is high or low ये किन चीजों पे depend करती है? It depends upon the amplitude and the source distance of the source of the sound. So इस चीज के ऊपर जो है sound high होती है या low होती है. Then we discussed that what are harmful effects of noise. Sound के harmful effects कौन कौन से हैं? जैसे कि heart diseases, hearing disturbance, anxiety, lack of sleeping, इसके अलावा stress. So these are different causes of harmful effects of noise. Then what should we do to reduce noise pollution? Noise pollution को हम किस तरीके से कम कर सकते हैं? हम इसको इस तरीके से कम करते हैं, we should plant more and more trees, vehicles को maintain करें, loud music नहीं सुने, sound appliances जो sound produce करती हैं उनको switch off कर दें when you are not using them. इस तरीके से हम sound pollution को, noise pollution को कम कर सकते हैं at individual level. So my dear students, now is the time for practice. For practice, you can download this worksheet from the description box below this video, or you can get it in print form by your teacher. So my dear students, write down your name and the roll number and then indicate whether the following sentence is true or false. So आपको true or false इसका बताना है. Moon is luminous source of light. We should use louder volume because it is favorable for our health. Opaque objects block the path of light. Light always travel in straight line. Shadow is the presence of light behind the object. Larger will be the distance of the object from the light source. The larger will be the shadow. Sound can travel in vacuum. Greater the amplitude, lower use of energy will produce high sound. So my dear students, you have to tell whether the sentences are true or false. Write any two luminous and non-luminous objects. Then compare the behavior of light with transparent, translucent and opaque objects. तीनों जो objects हैं, जो categories हैं, इनको आपने compare करना है. Then explain how intensity of sound be affected by amplitude and distance between the source and listener. किस तरीके से जो intensity of sound है वो distance से और amplitude से affect होती है, you have to discuss that. So pause the video and quickly finish the worksheet. I hope everybody has done it. Now let's quickly move forward towards the homework. For homework, you will identify the causes of noise pollution around you in school and home and do some remedies to reduce them. So my dear students, आपको अपने इर्द-गिर्द daily जब आप school travel करते हैं, घर में होते हैं, तो आपको ये चीजें आइडेंटिफाई करनी है कि नॉइज पोल्यूशन कौन कौन सी चीजें कॉज करी हैं और कैसे जो है आप इसको रोक सकते हैं या कम कर सकते हैं. So this will be your homework and the wrap up of the unit. In this chapter we have learned that sun and moon are natural sources of light. Electric bulbs, lamp and candles are artificial sources of light. Objects give off light are luminous objects, while objects that do not give off light are non-luminous objects. Transparent objects allow light to pass, translucent allows some light, and opaque objects do not allow light to pass through them. Light travels in a straight line. Opaque objects block the path of the light, which forms shadow behind them, and the signs of the shadow affected by the distance of the object from the light source and position of the light source. Light that fall on the shiny surface is fully reflect back with the same angle, which is regular reflection, while light fall on dull surfaces, some rays of the light reflect, but some spreads in all directions. This is diffuse reflection. Sound is produced by vibrating bodies, travel in the form of sound waves and comes to our ears. Sound needs medium, solid, liquid and gas to travel. And we discussed that intensity of sound is affected by the amplitude and distance between the listener and the source of the sound. Noise is unpleasant sound and which causes harmful effects on our health. We can reduce noise pollution by reducing volume, turn off sound appliances while they are not being used, and by maintaining motor vehicles daily. So my dear students, I hope you have enjoyed and learned a lot of things from this chapter, light and sound. Keep everybody around you safe. Have a good day. Thank you so much and Allah Hafiz.